Hi guys, Drew here, back with another video, and I'm back for another video, and it's NHL time. NHL season is right around the corner. The NHL Prospects Tournament has just ended, so why not do a video of standings predictions for the Pacific Division. I will be doing an Atlantic Division video coming sooner rather than later, but we're gonna get started with the Pacific and Central. Forgot to mention Central division. So basically both Western teams. I chose to do both. I was gonna do just Pacific, but I chose to do both because there is one wild card team I do have sneaking in here in this video that you may not expect. So yeah, so let's get on. I'm gonna start with the Pacific probably because it's the farthest west, and then we'll keep going across North America. So I'm gonna go down from 8 to 1. And we start off here with the San Jose Sharks at number 8. Obviously, San Jose won the draft lottery first overall last year. They ended up drafting Macklin Celebrini. He's going to look to have a pretty good season. I'm probably going to expect about 50 points from him, obviously. Had a great season at Boston University the season prior, and he's going to come in to San Jose with high expectations, as he's probably going to be getting top 6 minutes in that Sharks forward core, and maybe even some power play minutes. I mean, he's possibly going to be playing with Will Smith or a guy like Mikael Granlund, possibly in San Jose. So I could possibly expect a big year from him. But the other teams that are on in this division and in the West in general, San Jose just doesn't seem like they're going to be on top of them. Yaroslav Askarov obviously may have a big season for them. That could possibly push them higher up in the standings. But right now it just doesn't seem that way for them. Moving on to number 7, I'm not too high on this team when some people are. I got the Calgary Flames at number 7. People are like, oh, why are you doing it over Anaheim, all that kind of stuff. Listen here. Calgary has traded a bunch of their players this offseason. Andrew Mangiapane is not one of them. Possibly expect Kadri to be another, possibly soon. Mackenzie Weegar could be also another one. But Calgary, their tandem right now is Dustin Wolf and Dan Vladar. And don't get me wrong, Dustin Wolf is a great prospect for Calgary. He just didn't have the great numbers last season, a little bit of growing pains here and there. And Vladar, I don't think he's that capable to be 1A, 1B tandem, really. He's just a really good backup. I just don't know if he's going to be doing good swapping positions with Wolf. But Calgary in general, I just don't know. Honestly, I feel like they're not gonna have the greatest season. Maybe a lottery team. Honestly, that's just how I feel. People may be watching this thinking I'm crazy, and maybe I am, but I don't have high hopes for Calgary heading up into the season. I feel like the rebuild should be starting soon, but only time can tell. We can see what happens with Calgary's future. At number 6, we have the team that I mentioned earlier, the Anaheim Ducks. They have sick uniforms, but will they be sick on the ice? I don't know. Anaheim, I mean, they've got some great rookies coming in. For example, Cutter Gauthier and Olin Zellweger are looking awesome right now. But yeah, those two are going to have some pretty solid season, I'm expecting, from them, as Gauthier was traded in the Jamie Drysdale deal. And he'll be having a big season, but also expect some players like Troy Terry, Mason McTavish, Trevor Zegras, he's got a new sick mullet. Possibly have some pretty solid season. Lucas Dostal as well for the goaltending side of Anaheim. John Gibson's down on the getting on the downgrade era of his career when Dostal is up on his upgrade. So expect a pretty solid year for Anaheim. I mean, they could still be getting a top 10 pick in the lottery, but just expect improvement, in my opinion. Just expect improvement from them. Number 5, I have a team that I really like, honestly. I just don't know why. I just really like them. But I have them at 5th, and that's the Seattle Kraken. The Seattle Kraken, I've been a big fan of for a while now. When they made that playoff run back in 2023, I was a big fan of what they were doing. They got past the first round versus Colorado, and then they unfortunately lost to the Dallas Stars. But Seattle, I mean, they're going to have a rookie, Shane Wright, coming up. There's a lot of news about him, possibly how could he do this season. By the looks of it, he's going to be playing on Seattle's fourth line because you've already got players like Beniers, Bjorkstrand maybe, Jared McCann as well, possibly playing at that center. And I just don't know if there's room for right in that top 9 or top 6 for Seattle. So I don't know if he's gonna be going for a Calder year. I really don't expect that from Wright. But I mean, don't be surprised if he does pop a few points here and there. Number 4th, we have the LA Kings. One goal for LA, I feel like just heading into the season, is do not play the Edmonton Oilers in the first round. They lose every time against Edmonton in the first round. It may just happen again, depending on how dominant Edmonton is this year. But I mean, LA, Quinton Byfield, man, I feel like he's going to have a really strong year. They got some other players like Alexis Laferriere, not Alexis Lafreniere, the other one. And they also got Alex Turcotte. I'm really hoping for a good season for him. He just seems like a bust at this point. But I mean, he could possibly be doing better this season for LA. But the next 3 teams that I'm going to be mentioning, I don't think LA is going to be better than them. That, in my opinion, at least. They obviously traded Dubois. They got Darcy Kemper coming in. He had mediocre numbers for Washington in last season that he played for Washington. So I just don't expect much from LA this year. And number 3, I had the Vegas Golden Knights. I do know there's some people that are like, oh, Edmonton's definitely Vegas is gonna be at number 1, but I just see them down low, honestly. They obviously have lost a few core pieces. William Carrier, Johnson Marsh, so a few misfit players for the Vegas Golden Knights. They left in free agency. Will Carrier went to Carolina, while Marsh went to Nashville. And Chandler Stevenson also went to Seattle. He'll probably be a center also for Seattle. But, I mean, Vegas, they still have a good core. I mean, they still have some great players. Pavel Dorofeyev is probably going to be playing in the top 6 this year for Vegas, and they got Noah Hanifin in that Calgary deal back last trade deadline. He could be possibly having a pretty solid season alongside either Alex Pietrangelo or Shea Theodore, or maybe Theodore will be on the top pair instead of Hanifin. Who knows? With this Vegas team, they did lose Logan Thompson. They have a tandem of Aiden Hill and Ilya Samsonov. If Hill isn't playing the greatest, you're gonna have to try to put Samsonov in. Is Samsonov capable to be a starter? I think last year pretty much is self-explanatory for him. But yeah, Vegas, I have them at 3rd. And who will they play in the first round? I got the Vancouver Canucks at number 2. And that leads to Edmonton at number 1. But I'll talk about Vancouver first. Vancouver finishing 2nd last year. Actually no, they finished first, my bad. They had a strong run in the playoffs. I mean, they beat the Nashville Predators in 6 games and unfortunately lost in 7 to the Edmonton Oilers. Vancouver, honestly, I'm expecting a really good season for them. Quinn Hughes is going to be dominant. Elias Pettersson, JT Miller, there's many more to list off. I just feel like they're going to have a really strong year with their core. Maybe a few breakout players like Niels Holglander or maybe even Dakota Joshua. Connor Garland's a good depth piece as well. Like Vancouver, they're a really strong team, and we can only wait to see how they do this upcoming season. And of course, at number 1, I have the defending Prince of Wales Trophy winning Edmonton Oilers at number 1. Edmonton, there's just something about Edmonton that I like. There's just something. I was devastated when they lost to Florida in that Game 7. Didn't bring the cup back to Canada, but maybe they'll try to do it again this year. Who knows? McDavid, Draisaitl on that new hefty $14 million contract. He'll be probably having a strong season this year for Edmonton. Evan Bouchard's having a contract year, so you could expect him to have a really good year. And there's just many more players. Jeff Skinner's coming in. Victor Arvidsson. Zach Hyman. Will he be scoring 50 again? Only time can tell with this Edmonton squad. And that's why I have them at 1st in this Pacific Division. And now we moved on to the Central Division. I have some. It's a pretty self-explanatory one. I mean, there is no surprises with this one. With the Pacific Division, you might have been like, oh, Calgary, why are they at 7? Or even like Vegas at 3. But like Vegas is a top tier team, or maybe even like a team like LA. Why do you have them that high or low? I don't know. But this is just my takes, alright. You don't have to agree with me with this type of stuff. You can go on your YouTube channel and make a video about your standings yourself. But anyways, moving on to the Central Division. At number 8, I have the Chicago Blackhawks, and I mean, I'm gonna be rooting for them this year. I'm a big Connor Bedard fan. If you know me well, you really know that I'm going for Connor Bedard, whatever team he plays on, and Chicago is the team he's on. But I have him on in 8. I just don't know. They don't seem the greatest with their defense, really. Seth Jones is probably their best defenseman, and he is mediocre and on a really bad contract. But they got some players coming in like Alex Martinez, TJ Brody, and yeah, they got Peter Mrazek as their starter, and then Laurent Brossoit. He'll be missing, I believe, the first month of the NHL season, so they'll probably have to play a guy like Arvid Soderblom as that backup. But Chicago, I have at 8th. Obviously, Bedard, hoping for a strong season for him. He'll probably be alongside either like Teuvo Teravainen, Philip Kurashev, or Tyler Bertuzzi. But yeah, Chicago, I have at 8th. Maybe expect a strong season for them. They'll definitely be doing better, I expect. But at number 7, I have a team that I want to do well, but just doesn't seem like that. It's the Minnesota Wild. Obviously, their last year, their problem was goaltending. Marc-Andre Fleury, Philip Gustafsson were not the greatest. And I hope they do well, because this is maybe Marc-Andre Fleury's last season in a Minnesota Wild uniform. And he may retire, who knows. But they do got the talent. Kirill Kaprizov, Matt Boldy, Jolan Eriksson-Ek, Brock Faber going to be having a sophomore year in the NHL. He could possibly have a really solid year for the Minnesota Wild. Don't get me wrong, Minnesota's a great team. They have great players, but I just don't think they're good enough. I don't think they're good enough than the teams that are above them right now. So no, at number 6 we have the St. Louis Blues. Obviously, you know, they made those offer sheets to Dylan Holloway and Philip Broberg. Possibly expect big seasons from them if they're on a new team. Broberg has that hefty $4.5 million contract. So expect big things from them, and maybe expect big things from the Blues team itself. I mean, they have Pavel Buchnevich, Jordan Kyrou, Robert Thomas, maybe some players that could play good. Scott Perunovich as well. He has been pretty invisible. Nobody really notices him, but he's a pretty good player, honestly, and maybe expect a big year from him. Torrey Krug won't be playing this upcoming NHL season due to arthritis reasons, so he will not be playing. But the Blues itself, I mean, they have Bennington, Hofer, pretty solid tandem. But yeah, so I have the Blues at 6. And number 5, and this team I have making the playoffs actually. So 4th with LA. I didn't have them making the playoffs. Don't get me wrong, I like LA, but I just don't think they're as good as this team coming up. But I got Utah. I just don't know. I feel like Utah is going to be having a strong season this year. They obviously made some key additions: John Marino, Mikhail Sergachev, Ian Cole's another to name. They'll be having a big season this year. I have a feeling. I have a good feeling heading in for Utah. The stadium's gonna be packed. Fans are gonna be rowdy, and Utah's just gonna be pumped up for this upcoming season. So I have Utah at 5, and who do I have at 4th? Is a team that most people are pretty low on, but honestly, I kind of expect them to do well this year. It's the Winnipeg Jets. Winnipeg has a bunch of key talent like Mark Scheifele, Nikolai Ehlers, Josh Morrissey, and Connor Hellebuck, of course. Possibly going for another Vezina season for Winnipeg. Winnipeg, I just really hope Winnipeg makes the playoffs, based off because they have the best fans in the league during the playoffs. I mean, that whiteout crowd, holy cow, guys. What an experience that is to watch. Winnipeg, I have at 4, so they'll be clinching for this year's playoffs in my standings predictions. And then at 3rd, I have a team that there are some people high on them, but then low on them. Similar to Vegas is the Colorado Avalanche. Colorado, obviously, they're going to possibly get Landeskog back, and hopefully Nichushkin, and hopefully he can play through all of the playoffs next year, of course. But Colorado, they also have Nathan McKinnon, Cale Makar, just two of pretty much the best players in the league. Makar is definitely the best defenseman. You got Devon Tays as well. He's going to be having a strong year. Mikko Rantanen's another one to name. Colorado's just a stacked team, and expect them to be making this year's playoffs. Honestly, don't be surprised though if they don't do the greatest, because I just don't know why. I just don't think they're going to do the greatest than last year, of course. But third place in the standings is not that bad. But we move on to second, and this is probably the most exciting team. Like, this is probably the team that I'm wanting to watch the most this upcoming season, because they made some big moves. And you probably know who I said that. You probably know which team it is after I just said that. That is the Nashville Predators at number 2. So they'd be playing Colorado in the first round. And Nashville, I mean, self-explanatory pretty much. Johnson, Marchessault, Steven Stamkos. Those are just two great players for Nashville. So expect them to have a really strong year for that Nashville squad. And honestly, I think they're cup contenders. Don't get me wrong. UC Saros as the goalie, Roman Josi as that number 1 defenseman. I just think Nashville's going to have a really good year. There's some people that think they may not. Some people think that they may. I think they will. I think they're going to finish second. And they'd be playing Colorado in the first round, so that would be an awesome series to watch. Imagine Josi versus Makar, 2 great defensemen, and then maybe like a Stamkos versus McKinnon. Obviously, McKinnon's better, but I mean, still a great team in Nashville. And yeah, I just expect a really good year for them. And then finally, the last one at number 1 is probably my favorite team in the Central Division, probably besides Chicago and Utah maybe, is the Dallas Stars. Obviously, Wyatt Johnston, I mean, he's probably one of my favorite players now. He's going to be having a really good season this year, I expect. Maybe even point per game if his season goes well. And then a couple of rookies as well going into this upcoming season. Logan Stankoven and Maverick Bourque will be hopefully making the lineup for the Stars. Stankoven, in my opinion, is the Calder favorite for me. He'd definitely be my Calder vote so far, because he seems like he's the favorite for to win it all for Dallas. And maybe Dallas, another team that could be a cup contender, possibly could play Nashville in the second round, depending on how things go. But of course, Dallas, Jamie Benn, Tyler Seguin are a few others named. Mason Marchment, honestly one of the most underrated NHL players. He put up 53 points last year in 82 games. So Mason Marchment, just a great player in general. And then on their defense, I mean, they have Thomas Harley, still got to sign him. They also got Miro Heiskanen, lost Johnny Hockenpot to Toronto, but they got some great talent as well. And Jake Ottinger, of course, in the net. You know how he is. He's just a great goaltender himself. But yeah, that's going to be it for today's video, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Hope you enjoyed my takes. I haven't done much NHL content, honestly, over these past few years. So it feels a bit different talking NHL, because I've just been talking NHL, not behind a camera. But I hope you guys enjoy a bit of this NHL content this year. It's not just going to be NHL content, though. I'll of course be filming content for some other teams here in St. John's, of course. And I hope you guys enjoy those contents as well. We're on the road to 300 subscribers. If you can hit that subscribe button down below, I'd really appreciate it. So that's going to be for today's video, guys. Follow all my socials. It's all True Feltham, so you can search that up. That's it for today's video, guys. And I'll talk to you all again soon.